Good afternoon, everybody. This is Brett Zockman, Zach, founder of Be Men, and you know what time it is. It is Facebook Live time on Friday at Danny's studio. And hey, we just came off the man map. Are your underwear on fire?
Yes, they are.
Yes, I didn't even wear underwear. No, I'm kidding. Everybody calm down, ladies.
Too much.
Stick with us. I know, TMI on a Friday. Hey, no, honestly, sincerely, we had a great time. We want to thank Jason Hopkins and NAMI. We want to thank Mindspring. We want to thank eBodyguard. We want to thank Let's Talk Colorado. We had an incredible time last night. We had about 50 or 60 people in attendance, and we did a deep dive on the man map, right? How to provide, survive, and thrive. We got very real. And you know, here in the state of Colorado especially, we have just gone through a round of some pretty disturbing things once again, right? We had some more seemingly senseless student violence. So what we're doing here on Fridays is we're breaking it down, and each week we're trying to bring you a conversation with a key member of our advisory council as we build up to our June 29th event for the 5 Pillars of Male Wellness. And after that, we're going to branch out even deeper into our community, and we're going to have men and women coming in here to discuss topics of import with us. As men tend to do, well, we drink some beer, we hang out, we watch a game, we go about an inch deep and a mile wide. Well, that's not what we're trying to do here in this community. Kirk M. Samuels will say, we're going an inch wide and a mile deep. So today, I'm with one of my favorite guys in the whole wide world.
Kirk just said hi.
Kirk said hi? Yeah.
Hey, Kirk.
All right, Kirk. Spread the word. So, Jeff Scott Ruiz. So, we're going to talk about physical fitness today, right?
All right, let's do it.
Awesome. So, let's dive right into it. So, all right, the big first question, I mean, does physical fitness, is it even important for men? Why does it matter?
Yeah, I think it is important for men. It matters because men are just physical strength kind of guys, you know? We like to act tough, we like to do things and lift things and push things and go fast and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's very important. It defines the man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know you have kids.
I do.
Yours are a little grown further than mine, right?
They are.
But I can remember my boys, I mean, there was like WrestleMania. Like even when they were little, like they were still in like kind of big boy diapers, you know, and they're like 2 and 4 and we're doing WrestleMania on the floor and stuff, and nobody taught them that. It wasn't like they went to a wrestling class.
Right.
So the physicality starts early, doesn't it?
It does. It's instinctive from toddlers. They just want to plow into stuff and roll around and get dirty and just all kinds of things. Very tactile.
Yeah. Now, how old is your son now?
He's 30.
30. Did he ever kind of test the limits with dear old dad? Did he few bumps and bruises and pushes and shoves?
Just kind of little arm wrestle, definitely arm wrestle and pushing around a few times. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, test the water. That's awesome. That's the way it kind of works. So I know you did a stint in the military.
Yes.
Right? Now, we talk about military a lot in America. I didn't have the stones to go in. So I was kind of thinking about your military experience and physical fitness. Did physical fitness play a part in any of your decision making to get into the military?
It did a little bit because I was always a scrawny little kid.
You were?
I was.
Okay.
I was really skinny. I was thin, and it kind of gave me a little incentive to go in there and bulk up a little bit. And as a matter of fact, after the basic training and all that good stuff, I actually gained about 20 pounds after going in, and awesome. I felt I was pretty solid by that time.
You got your Thor on?
I did, yeah.
That's awesome. Now, how old were you when you went in?
18.
18. Okay. And so you're kind of scrawny up till that point, and then
very.
Yeah. Okay. I was too. We must have been kin there.
Yeah.
So they put you through boot camp, right?
Yeah.
So was it right away that you started kind of experiencing more physicality, or was it over time?
It was right away.
Yeah.
It was right away. It was a 6-week training, and they work you out the whole time. They feed you stuff designed to put weight on you, and they really calorie you up. And it was, if you want to say instantaneous, over 6 weeks, sure.
Hey, that's pretty quick, actually, right?
Yeah.
In terms of body image and stuff. So now thinking about body image, I know in America we spend a lot of time on body image on the female front, right? That we're very unfair to females, that if they aren't this cover of Cosmo fantasy thing, because actually that woman's been like kind of rebrushed up into something that doesn't even exist. But what about like body image? You went in and you said you were scrawny, weren't too happy about that, and then you got a little more buff. What happened upstairs for you?
Well, my mental approach really changed because I thought, well, you know what? Now I can be on par with the other guys
Okay.
that would push me around when I was
Yeah.
little and skinny. I felt like I was on a more level playing field. And that did something to me mentally. I thought that I could really do more things, and I could. You know, I got a little stronger.
There you go.
And yeah, it was a big impact for me.
At the end of the day, men kind of compete, right? About everything.
No, men don't compete.
No. Well, and guys, yes, so we talk about this quite a bit in our community, that there's a few nuances, right? Men and women have a lot of similarities, right, in our biochemistry and who we are as human beings, Homo sapiens, but there's a couple of key distinct differences, and it seems like women are kind of hardwired for connection, right? But us men are hardwired for competition. And it makes it harder to connect when you're competing, right?
It sure does.
If I'm looking at you and going, I don't know, I think he can bench press more than me, then I'm not really connecting deeper with you.
That's true. You kind of size each other up.
Yeah,
Can I
exactly.
take this guy, or what would I do if he
There
kind of
you
made
go.
a move? And you're evaluating each other like
That's
that.
right.
Or
Are my
he's
pecs
taller,
bigger
he's
than yours?
he's broader than me, and you're right. It's subconscious. We do that a lot, and I think it factors into the kind of decisions we make with each other.
Okay.
And what we choose to do with each other when we go out
Yeah.
with the guys. I mean, it's always competition.
So when you got into the military, did that impact who you ran with? Like, who was the Scott Ruiz group of guys that you hung out with? Were they bigger than you, smaller than you?
I actually
more
don't
physical,
think
less physical?
I actually don't think the body size was a factor there.
Okay,
We
good.
just hanging around with the same type of guys that were doing the same kind of things.
So his interests,
enough.
hobbies,
Yeah.
lifestyle stuff?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was.
Okay. So you mentioned you were a little bit scrawny, but have you had any other kind of challenges around the physical fitness realm or that bucket in a man's life?
Actually, I have,
Okay.
because I was always a little resentful of how skinny I was and,
Right.
and relatively weak compared to other guys.
Okay.
So after I put on the weight in the military, and I kept going.
Oh,
And
okay.
after I got out, I thought the answer to presenting myself as a tough guy was to just try to get more stout.
Yeah. Sure.
Unfortunately, it was a result. It resulted in weight gain for me.
Okay.
I gained a lot of weight, and I became really puffy and solid, and I was kind of proud of a bigger chest and all that. But the whole time mentally, I'm thinking, you gotta look tougher. You have to appear tougher. I got up to 220 pounds at my
220?
heaviest. At my
Now, how
heaviest,
tall are you?
5'10".
Okay.
So I was kind of portly. And after I moved here to Colorado about 12 and a half years ago, I started being more active, going out, hiking more, and doing more physical things,
Yeah.
because I wanted to take care of that. I thought, wow, I really overdid it. I ballooned out, and I think this is too much. Even though I look stout, I don't feel good
Okay.
because it wasn't natural.
Oh, okay. So you'd pushed it beyond like
I did.
what your body
I
would
let
just
myself
normally
go.
carry. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But I had a bigger profile, so I thought it was cool. But after I moved here, I did a lot of outdoor activity, like I said, and I got down to 180. I lost 40 pounds after moving here in the first year, and I was really proud of that. And that's when I started to feel better mentally about my physical fitness, because I thought, well, I do look better and I feel better, and I'm maintaining about that weight right now. So
Good for you. Now, you moved out
yeah.
here when you were how old?
You're gonna make me do math?
Yeah.
13,
math.
almost 13 years ago. So I'm 55 now, so 42.
42. And here's where I'm headed with this, because it's starting to become pretty well known in the medical field and beyond the medical field about men at their middle age, right? Kind of in their 40s. The testosterone starts to drop, that their physicality starts to drop. We're not really, our lifestyle is not very conducive towards physicality, You sit in a car, you go to and from work, you sit at your desk, right, for hours on end. You might sit in front of the tube, right, watching a game, or go to the movies. I mean, just like sit,
a lot of sitting.
yeah, sit, ubu, sit. I mean, men are doing a lot of damn sitting.
That's true.
Especially when we get a little older, and then it seems like, I just don't have time. I mean, I would, but I can't quite get to it. And then one day becomes 1 month, becomes 1 year, and before you know it, right? So what upstairs, in your mental space said, no, this is enough. Like 220 is too much. and I'm going to get after it. Was there like a certain moment? Was there a threshold? Was it a progression?
It was a daily progression because I would get winded walking up a flight of stairs. So it was a health concern.
Yeah.
I would get out of breath very easily, and I just didn't like the way I was starting to look, in knowing that I'm getting older, and I was in my 40s at the time. So I thought, you know what, if I don't do something pretty quickly, this could get out of hand.
Right.
You know, the
Right.
chance of diabetes or any other kind of conditions or back problems, you name it.
Yeah.
So I
that's
really
right.
wanted to arrest that. So I'd say the big signs for me were being out of breath all the time and just feeling lousy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, guys, that's a big tip. You know, we have in America spent so much time about self-image on the female slant of the equation, but think about us men. You know, with physical fitness and the 5 pillars of male wellness, we want to ask you this question, and you don't have to answer it right now, and maybe you don't even want to think about it right now because, heck, it's TGIF. But over time, at least let this process in your brain and then seep down into your bones and decide, you know, when you look up, when you get out of the shower, right, and there you are in your big boy, no pants and your birthday suit, and you look in the mirror, you know, the question comes down to this. Do you like what you see? Do you love what you see? Do you not like what you see? God forbid, do you hate what you see? You know, a lot of self-medicating in men comes down to self-loathing. And that could be on the physical front. And, you know, don't blame yourself. This isn't about shame, blame, and guilt. We just admitted that, hey, here in the United States of America, we're not exactly putting you into a lifestyle that's going to turn you into, you know, Mr. USA bodybuilder. So as you were doing that, Jeff, what might be your suggestion for other guys like us, dare I say, middle age, or doing?
You can say middle age.
Middle age, you know, prime and in our prime. What would you say would be your advice to them, you know, to stay consistent, or, you know, what did you do that kept you going, you know, to get from 220 to 180? But then, you know, a lot of people, they're just boom, right? They bounce right back and they're right back to the 220, and you haven't. So
I think I would probably allude to what you said about how we take ourselves when we look at each other in the mirror. For example, I used to look at myself in the mirror and just not like what I saw. I mean, just the whole package.
Yeah, you weren't having it.
Right, and that defines you mentally, who you think you are. It may not be what others think of you, but the self-loathing, I think, is a very important part. I would try to get across to the guys, middle age, we're talking about that, 40s, when the body starts to change. Hey, look, guys, actually try to love yourself. Try to appreciate what you're looking at. You know, it's not the end game or anything like that. Try to make it a point to spend a few minutes a day with positive self-talk.
There you go.
And positive reinforcement and encouragement about yourself. And just, you start doing that enough times and you create a different habit.
There you go.
And habits can change. We're not stuck with the way we're thinking all the time. These things can change, and it'll change your energy also. So I think that's what I would suggest. Just tell yourself a little bit every day how awesome you are.
I like that. So you start with that muscle right up here in the mind, right, in the self-talk, and then you generate patterns that then become habits. And guys, it's pretty simple. Habits either build you up or break you down. And the nice thing about it is you can change that. Today, tomorrow, next week, next month. There's nothing that says that just because you've been one way for a year or 10 years or however long, that you can't shift that starting today, starting tomorrow.
That's right.
Which is good news for all of us, right? Now, don't buy the hype, guys, right? I mean, I can remember back in the day when I was in college, I mean, hell, it was like a part-time job. I mean, we were lifting all the time. I was a football player. We ran. We played basketball. I mean, heck, I was probably doing physical stuff 25 hours a week, which is impossible, right? Later in life.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's going to pay us to go to the gym, which mostly they don't, guys, right? So this isn't that you got to wake up and become Batman or Superman or Spider-Man, or you got to be a, you know, an MMA guy, or you got to, you know, win Mr. Universe. But it really, to Jeff's point, it's just about accepting what you look like and what's the best version of you, and getting back to a space where, you know, you got that nice energy.
Mm-hmm. And I'll speak more on that, about the energy.
Okay, tell us.
There was a time where I was going to the gym haven't been doing so well in that area lately. But I made myself go to the gym at least 4 mornings a week.
That's pretty good.
And just going there for an hour, whether it was treadmill or elliptical or the weights,
Okay.
I mean, you're right, that stimulates the body
Right.
physically. You feel energized, you feel charged, and it's a chain reaction because then the brain gets charged, the brain
you
gets
go.
stimulated, you feel good about what you just did, and the rest of your day is awesome. At least I thought so.
There you go.
Especially when you start in the very beginning of the day. So yeah, there's physical change to that. Yeah.
That's nice. You know, guys, that's one of the reasons you might have heard me say this, that I try to do this mile a day thing, right? Could I run more? Yes. Do I do it 100%? No, because perfection is ridiculous. Don't even try. It's not going to happen. I'm hitting about 4 a week. And, you know, here's why I do that, guys. It's pretty simple. In our 40s, being in shape is 100% on purpose. In our 20s, being in shape, it can just happen by accident. So this is the shifting over time. You can't drink the 12-pack of beer, sit on the couch 6 days a week, and then figure that you're going to look like a bodybuilder. It just doesn't happen. The metabolism slows down. This body is a machine, right? And at 48, there's things I cannot do at 24. It's just not going to happen. So you can fight it, or you can accept it and then work with it and adjust accordingly. So as we're kind of wrapping up, I always like to ask this question, Jeff. So what kind of quote-unquote myth would you like to dispel to the men in our community about the whole physical fitness thing?
Bigger and tougher is not always better. Believe me. I have learned that the hard way. The myth that you have to be the big, strong guy is exactly that. It's a myth. Guys, we got brains. We can excel in many other ways. Let the big guys do the heavy lifting. You know, we don't have to do it all. We think we can, but we don't have to do it all.
You mean I don't have to throw out my back just to prove to somebody?
No, and I used to be the kind of guy that says, "Oh, I'll get that, and I threw out my back a few times.
Oh, did you?
Let other guys who are able to do that.
Yeah.
So the myth that you have to be strong and tough is we need to dispel that right away and use our other talents that we have.
There you go.
Yeah.
Become a little more holistic, right? That feeds right back into what we were talking at the Man Map last night. You know, if you're super awesome in one category, meaning your physical fitness is off the charts, but your mental toughness is zippo, or your spiritual power is non-existent, or your finances are a mess, then really how tough are you? Okay. So as we wrap up today, guys, we want to remind you a couple of things. We've got Beers, Bros, Bucks in Colorado Springs next Wednesday. So be there for that. We're going to do a deep dive. And then the second Wednesday of June, we'll have Beers, Bros, Bucks here in Denver. And then all of this is leading us up to the granddaddy of them all. You're not going to want to miss this. So Saturday, June 29th, we're going to be in Northwest Parker at the Solomon Center from 9 to noon. And we're going to do a deep dive breakdown of the 5 pillars of male wellness according to B-Men. We're going to have 5 experts in the room. We're going to have an incredible moderator and Kirk M. Samuels. And gentlemen, I promise you, that'll be 3 hours that could change your life forever. So always remember, we do better together. It's we, not me. Let's be extraordinary.